Hello, my friends. Good evening. Welcome to Monday Motivation with Chris Cook in Nashville. If you are brand new, my name is Chris, better known as Chris Cook in Nashville, here on the crazy YouTube internet land. Lost about 130 pounds on a proper human diet, and I now spend as much time as I possibly can creating recipes and content encouraging other people to consider this whole proper human diet lifestyle, low carb, keto, ketovore, carnivore, whatever it is makes you happy. And we just do everything we can to try to help as many people as possible. Sure appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you like and subscribe and share while you are here. Drop it in the comments that you're watching. Would love to say hello to you. And cannot wait to spend a little bit of time tonight. We are talking about how our health journey is like recording a studio album. And for those of you who don't know, you might not realize the reason that I am Chris Cooking Nashville, the reason I am in Nashville, is because long before I ever dreamed of being a YouTuber or doing low carb or any of the kinds of things that I do, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee. I went to college and got my degree and have since been a professional musician. I play guitar, I sing, I play several other instruments as well. I do studio work, I've done live touring work, playing live shows, touring around with different artists. I'm a songwriter, that's what my degree is in, and do, a whole bunch of different things in the music realm here in Nashville professionally. And this is just kind of an accidental thing that I do what I'm doing here. So we're going to talk about how our health journey is like recording an album, and I'm going to give you guys maybe just a little bit of an insight of what it's like to record an album. Ash and I do that regularly. And speaking of Ash and us recording albums, I wanted to pop this up here for you guys. This QR code right here, if you go and scan this, this is going to take you to the DistroKid page where you can go right now and pre-save Ash's new single that will be coming out. It is the extended version of her current single that is out called This Town Built Me. And this is the extended version. This is the version that she really envisioned when she wrote the song and we started putting this all together. This is the thing that she was actually creating. The first version that she released is kind of the radio-friendly version. This version at this QR code right here is the country version of Freebird, shall we say. It's like a 7-minute song, and there's a bunch of guitars, and if you guys don't know, Ash writes the songs. Sometimes I help a little bit with that, but most of the time she's writing the lyrics and coming up with the chord progressions. I'm putting on the guitar parts, coming up with signature licks. We work together to work on arrangements, and then we go in the studio, we play all the guitars, we sing all the parts. We have our buddy Pat Lassiter, who is recording and also playing bass guitar. He's a country music legend. Played with everyone that you can imagine, Charlie Daniels to Lori Morgan to just all of these, Tracy Byrd, all these different people in the country industry. Deserves to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame. So legendary bass player playing bass on this track, and then Charlie Morgan is playing drums for us on this. He's played with, he toured with Elton John for a number of years, and he's worked with Paul McCartney, and he's worked with major country artists. Just another absolute music legend. So this track is all of us really laying it down and having a good time. So please, please, please scan the QR code right here. Go pre-save this because it's going to be coming out soon. And when you pre-save that, you will be the first person, the group of people, the first group of people who hears this. It'll just let you know when it goes live immediately. But you pre-saving that makes a big impact on an independent artist like Ash. There's so many behind the scenes of how music works, but the more people we get to pre-save using this link right here, the better that this will do. And so if you guys would like to show some support for Ash, who is the whole reason that Chris Cooking Nashville can even happen, this is a really great way to do it. Go to this link, pre-save her new single, the extended version of This Town Built Me that is coming out, and then send that link to anyone and everyone you know who likes country music and ask them to do the same. It really means more than you can imagine, because we don't have record labels and millions of dollars of promotional materials and all of these things behind what we do. It's just Ash and I. So we really appreciate you guys supporting us and helping us out. Let's see who's in the chat today, and we're going to dive in. Richard Williams is here. Good evening, neighbors. Good to see you, neighbor. Lynn Reed is here from Texas. Hi, Lynn. Holly Springer. Good evening, Holly. John Wise is here. Hey, John. Let's see. Holly says, surprise, there's not more people waiting in the chat. Well, guys, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up. That'll tell YouTube that this is cool. Comment in the chat. Let us know you are watching, because that tells YouTube that there's people here. And then do me a favor and hit the share button and send this to the people that you know should be here watching. And I would love to see you guys do that. It would just help out so much. So thank you guys so much for being here. And I tried to drop the link, by the way, for Ash's single in the chat, and in the chat over here. It looks like it cut it off in a really weird way. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there for you guys again and see if it'll do it right this time. And if it will, hopefully that will go through. Yeah, it looks like that went through. So there's the link in the chat for you guys as well to go pre-save Ash's single. We would really appreciate that. Marty Crum is here. Hello from Paula and Marty on this freezing Monday night. It is cold in Nashville. Is it warm or cold where you guys are at? Let me know what your weather is like, because we woke up today and it was super cold, and we saw snow flurries earlier today. My parents had to drive through snow to go to work this morning. So it's wild, guys. It's hitting us early this year. Let's see. John says it's 29 degrees there. That's cold, John. It's probably not too awful much warmer here in Nashville. Karen is here. Hi, Karen. Hello from Florida. I bet it's warmer where you are than where I'm at, Karen. Reese's Cluttered Kitchen is here. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Reese says it's 34 degrees there. It's probably about what it is here. It's cold. We woke up this morning and it was real cold in the house because we didn't turn the heat on last night because I didn't realize it was going to be that cold today. Let's see. Woody M is here. Cook, baby, cook. Yes, indeed. Tell you guys about what I've been doing today here in just a little bit. Let's see. There's brother Dennis from Newport. Hey, Dennis, how are you, my friend? Karen Bradford is here. Hello from Dixon. You're not too far away, Karen. It's good to see you. Jeff Cox is here. Brother Jeff, good evening. Where's the super chat thingy? Jeff, you're very, very sweet. Says, asking for a friend. Good to see you, my friend. Lisa Ortega in the house. Hey, Lisa, how are you tonight? Sweet Barks and Berries. Hello, all. Della here. Well, it's good to see you, Della. And there's Heidi. Hi, Chris and Ash. So glad to be able to catch y'all tonight. Been so busy lately. God bless y'all. And also join the band, y'all. Yes, private community called The Band. I'm going to pop up another QR code. So one last chance, and then I'll put this back up later, but one last chance real quick, but you just pause the screen if you need to, scan this one so you can go get the pre-save link for Ash's single. And then when you're done with that, you can go to this one right here. This is for our private community called The Band, and you can come over there. We do support, we do private live streams, we do extra recipes, we do all kinds of stuff. We have a great community of people over there who are all working together to try to make this stable for people who are on this lifestyle, because guys, we need a tribe. We need people to support us, because this is not just an easy thing to do sometimes. That's what we're going to talk about here in just a minute tonight, about making a studio album and how that compares to your health journey. Let's see. Lisa's in Indiana. And let's see. Karen says, awesome, I play harp, clarinet, organ, and I love music. Well, that's awesome, Karen. Always glad to meet a fellow musician. Sherry Nevada Pup is here. So hello, CCN fam. Driving, so we'll just be listening. Well, Sherry, it's good to see you. Glad you're here. Be careful driving. Marie is here. Hello, everyone. And Deb Nelson is here. Hello from California. Good to see you, Deb. What part of California? You know, that's Ash's home state. Let's see. Where? Making sure I'm not missing anybody here. Heidi says it is snowing in Minnesota and in the low 20s. Woo, that sounds a bit cold. Karen says cold, but love it here in the 60s. And there's Aaron, average keto carnivore guy. Good evening, 27 degrees here. Dennis says 28 over in Newport. Yeah, it's probably just a little cooler over in Newport than it is in Nashville. Karen says, I would love to see snow again. I like seeing the snow when I don't have to go anywhere. That's when I really like it the most. Deb says the weather is good on the left coast. Yes, I'm sure it is. Let's see. Terry Cargo is here. Hello from Ramona, California. Good to see you, Terry. Karen says, I miss California. Lived in San Juan, Capistrano. Very cool. Deb says, Central Valley, about 3 hours north of Bakersfield, where Ash is from. Well, that's awesome, Deb. I'm glad you're here. All right, guys, let's talk about this. So, your health journey is like recording an album. Now, what the heck does that even mean? So, I have to tell you guys, one of the things that I think is so funny is so regularly a new person will find my channel. They'll watch an old video where I'm heavier than I am now, or even if they watch a newer video, they'll see that I still have some weight to lose. And I don't know if you guys can tell, like I have been losing a lot of weight. About 33, 34, 35-ish, somewhere in there pounds over the last month, basically. And I'm feeling really good, and things are really good. So new people find my channel, and sometimes the not so nice of them, they like to point out the fact that I still have extra weight to lose. And they sort of talk about, like, hey, you're a fat carnivore, or, they like to blame my recipes, or there's so many different ways that trolls on the internet will take it, but they love to point out, call me fat, and, all these kinds of things. Whatever. I don't pay any attention to people like that, but it does bring up an interesting point, because this is a conversation I have had with a lot of people in comment sections repeatedly. Because people do this, and it's like, maybe it works and then they struggle, or maybe they try and then they fail, and then maybe that does, they give it a shot and it just doesn't seem to work very well. They're not losing weight, and so they give up. And so it's this back and forth thing. And my journey, your journey, everyone's journey is exactly that. It is a journey. It is not linear. It is not from I'm overweight to I'm in perfect health in a straight line. It happens in a month and a half. That's not the way this works. So Ash and I kind of, we do a lot of studio work, and you guys are going to understand here in a second what I'm talking about, why I'm comparing these two, but we do a lot of studio work. And I've realized, Ash and I were talking about this, and Ash really helped me kind of put this all together. Your health journey is very much like working on a studio album. And when you think of it this way, it takes a lot of the pressure off of you to have to be perfect every single day. And to feel like you're failing when anything that doesn't go perfectly happens, right? So let me just sort of explain to you a little bit about this. This is where I think this analogy and being a musician and really understanding how a studio album works is going to really help you feel encouraged in your own journey, your own health experience as you're working on this. So not every take in the studio is a keeper, okay? But every take gets you closer. Here's what I mean by that. We walk in a studio, and we do not expect the first take to be the final cut. So what do I mean by a take? We sit down with our instruments. We hit record. Sometimes it's the whole band. Sometimes it's one instrument at a time. It depends on the situation. There's a lot of ways that this happens. But regardless, each time we hit record, we play. And sometimes we're trying to play the whole song through. Sometimes we're playing a piece of the song. We're working on just one section. Whatever. But we hit record, and we do a take. Okay, a take. We try to record it. And it is not perfect. And so then we stop and we go back and we do it again. And as you do this again and again and again and again, you find little things, spots where things don't mesh, or you find spots where you tend to make mistakes, because guess what? We're not perfect. We make mistakes in the studio, and we have to try again. Sound familiar when it comes to a health journey? So we have to go back and we do a take after take after take after take. In the studio, you rehearse, you experiment, you mess up, you try again, you keep going after it, take after take after take. And the really, really pro level musicians, which I'm always aspiring to try to be more like, but the super pro level musicians, they can do a couple, 3 takes. And then it's like, okay, there's enough material there, we can cut it together because they're just so good. But even those pro level guys, they take multiple takes because they're not perfect. And the only reason they can do it in even 3 or 4 takes instead of 50 to 70 takes is because they've done it so much and they've made so many mistakes along the way. So think about how we can apply this to health. You don't blow the whole health journey that you're on because of one meal that's off or one day that's off. Now, I'm not condoning cheat meals and cheat days and saying you should do all of that. I'm not trying to give you permission to go eat whatever you want. Don't hear what I don't say. However, you're not blowing your entire life and your entire health journey if you have a single cheat meal or a day where you fall off the wagon or even a season where you struggle. I had someone that messaged me on social media today and they said they did carnivore for a year. They were doing great shape. They were so good. All was going well. They fell off the wagon and they just started beating themselves up and they could not get back on. And it has been 5 years since they were in good health because they stopped doing carnivore because they were beating themselves up. And I'm not saying that to judge them or criticize them. I'm saying this is the reality of your brain having the wrong perspective and not being able to get back on because you're seeing this failure and then you sort of just go into this spiral of continuing to fail. This is a creative process, okay? It is not a pass-fail test. It is the same thing as the studio as it is in a health journey. In the studio, it is a creative process. Take after take, you're getting better and better. Health journey, day after day, meal after meal, failure after failure that you then restart and you turn right back around and keep going after it. You get stronger and more stable in being keto or carnivore. This is what we're here to do. This is not flip the switch and suddenly you're never going to have any of these things you're trying not to eat again. We're humans. It would be great to say, hey, we're never going to eat cake again. I'm not going to tell you that because I don't think I could keep that promise. Now, do I need to have cake 7 to 10 times a month like I used to? No, absolutely not. Once or twice a year is kind of where I sit at this point, right? My birthday and, maybe a random thing if it happens somewhere else is kind of how I'm batting right now. And that's, if I don't even do that, that's great. But if I do that, that is not blowing my whole journey. That is me saying, okay, that wasn't good for me. I need to go right back to what I'm doing. Because it's a creative process. That is like a studio take that was messed up. Stop, back to the beginning, start again. Do another take and try not to make the same mistake the next time, okay? Progress is not linear. Progress is layered. And this is the thing people on the internet that like to troll and call me fat, this is the thing they don't understand. Progress is not A to B in a straight line, and if anything happens that you don't get there in the time frame or in the way that other people judge that you should, somehow you're a failure. That's not how that works. Progress is layered. You keep going through the same experiences, but each time you start getting better at them. So that cupcake in the workroom, in the break room at work, right? That someone's birthday is happening and there's cupcakes and you eat one. Okay, maybe the first time that happens you ate 2 or 3 and you did it for 2 or 3 days in a row before you finally stopped. Maybe the second time it's only 1 cupcake and maybe it's only a couple of days. Maybe the third time it's 1 cupcake and that's it. And maybe the 4th time you finally say no to it and you just don't have it at all. That is layering your progress because you're going through the same challenge, but eventually you train yourself to be able to say no. And these are things, I'm not saying go eat the cupcake and just give yourself the excuse of, well, I'm progress experimenting. Like that, I'm not saying that. But when you go through challenges, you are layering your progress and you are layering the work that it takes to build your stamina, not just physical stamina, your mental and emotional stamina. To be able to do this, this is really important. Progress is not linear. It is layered. It's really important. So Tell me, guys, in the chat, what's something you're willing to keep recording this week, even if you don't nail it? What is something this week that you can go and do take after take after take like you're in the studio, and you can keep at it and keep at it until you get it right? Drop it in the chat. What's a small thing that you can commit to pursuing this week? Take after take after take, just like you're in the studio doing guitar parts like I do. All right, we'll see what you guys have to say there in the chat. Okay, the thing that you need to then understand, and this is where things really get interesting. The magic of being in the studio and recording an album, it really happens in the editing room. It's not the first recording. What you guys hear on Ash's single that's going to be coming, which I'm going to go ahead and put that back up. So don't forget, this is for the band, our private community. We'd love for you to come join. And then this one here, right here, this is for Ash's single. Please, 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 please go pre-save that. When you hear this, when it comes out, what you are hearing is not the same thing as what happened when I sat down with guitars, or when Ash sat down to sing. Well, she sings standing up, but point being, when she sat down with the acoustic guitar, when she was doing her parts, when I was doing my parts, what you're hearing is not just the raw, exactly what it sounded like in the room thing. The pieces, yes, are there, and that's what we did. But the real progress in the studio and in your health journey, it happens when you listen back to the thing you've done. When you learn from the thing that you've done, and when you adjust accordingly. So we play something in the studio. Our producer and engineer, Pat, plays bass. He stops, we listen back to it, we go, okay, what just happened? What's working? What's not working? What do we need to fix? What could be better? Oh, I was a little off time here. I was behind. That note doesn't work very well. I don't like that riff. I didn't play that very well. Let me try that again. Like, this is the process we're going through. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work for the, in this case, 7-minute, but usually 3.5-minute type song that you hear as the finished product, because we're going back and listening and reworking and adjusting piece by piece all the way through this. And not just one musician, multiple musicians doing multiple tracks. There's probably 12 to 15 different guitars that are playing at any given time in this song that you guys can go listen to when this comes out soon. And it's not like they're all playing the same thing. They're all doing little things, working together. Anywhere from 5 to 15 tracks of guitars is happening at any given time, plus bass, plus drums, plus other percussion, like all this kind of stuff. And then there's vocals and harmonies and all of this stuff. So we go back and we adjust and we work piece by piece based on that progress and based on what we're hearing, the feedback we're getting. This has to be the same with your health. So you track your patterns, not your perfection and not your failure, your patterns. What are the things that I keep slipping up with, and how do I start to adjust? What are the notes that don't harmonize right, and how do I go in and fix those little bits and pieces? How do I adjust the things for my diet and my lifestyle with food that are not working? I stumble in this particular situation. How do I change that? How do I make that situation not a problem? You have to look for clues, not your flaws, okay? You've got to think, what are the things I can do to make a positive impact on this? Not focus on, oh, I just keep failing at this. I ruined this. I screwed up that. You've got to stop doing that. And you have to think, what are the clues that are here that I can use to figure out how to adjust and make things harmonize? How can I make my diet and my lifestyle work? How can I bring harmony into what I'm trying to do physically, mentally, and emotionally with my diet and my lifestyle so that my health improves? That's what we're chasing, okay? You have to think of it this way. Data is not judgment. It's feedback. We were talking about, my face is really looking a lot thinner because I've lost a lot of weight. Part of what's going on is I've been on this long journey since my neurodivergence diagnosis, the autism and the ADHD and the OCD and the bipolar and all this stuff. my supplements that I'm using to treat all of that in a way that, an average neurotypical person probably wouldn't need to, but I do, because I'm fully unmedicated and I'm getting regulated and I'm doing lifestyle changes that regulate my brain. Doing all of that, then I'm able to put effort into certain things with my food and my activity levels, and I'm able to be more intentional. I'm not dopamine seeking, I'm not dysregulated, my cortisol's not through the roof 24/7. All of these things help. I'm sleeping better. All of that stuff matters so much in terms of weight loss, far more than even the food that I'm eating. Which is why I gained all that weight and I wasn't able to lose weight past a certain point and all that up until I understood all this. Data is really important. So I've been using data. What's working? What's not? How can I adjust this? How can I adjust that? So I'm telling you guys this. I have a thing called the daily shred sheet, and it's for my carnivore shred protocol that I'm going to be sharing on the channel as I'm putting all this together for you guys. I'm also writing a cookbook, so getting it all done as best I can. But I'm going to share my shred protocol that I'm using to lose weight and stay stable, and like my brain, my hormones are great, like everything. So I'm going to do this thing where I'm going to share this with you, but my shred sheet, my daily shred sheet, is where I'm tracking what works and what doesn't and how can I adjust things. It's data, it's feedback, it's not judgment when things are not going the way that I want them to, or if it's like, I didn't feel that great today. That's not judgment, that's just feedback. It's data that helps me then adjust so things harmonize better. Okay, it's really important. Okay, here's the thing, and this is where the people who troll online don't get this. And this is where they just go off in ignorance, and this is why we ignore people like this. When you're in the studio, one bad take does not ruin the album. If it did, no album would ever exist, because everybody has bad takes. Every musician in the world has bad takes. They have things they struggle with. They have elements that they're fighting. Their fingers just don't work quite right, and the guitar just doesn't sound the way they want. They hit a bad note. They forgot a section of the song was coming. All of these different things happen, and bad takes happen. If you miss a meal, a snack, you overdo the carbs at some point, you whatever, okay? That's one track, one take of one track in the studio. In the music world, a bad take gets deleted. That's the best part of this whole digital music era that we live in now. Back when you did this stuff on analog tape, like when I was in college, I had to learn how to record on analog tape, and you have to like cut the tape and actually use tape to stick two pieces together that are cut on an angle so it can fade from one into the other. That's why it's called a cut, because you had to cut the actual tape. We don't use tape anymore. It's all digital. Now you can just go delete the file and you can just start again, or you can just save the file as long as it was a bad take and you can just do another take, right? You don't throw away the entire album you're working on. That's one take that you need to move on, and then you make a better take. Same exact thing with your health. Don't throw away your week or your month or your year or any of these things because of this meal, because of this bad week you had, because of a bad month. The person that told me that they went off the rails and they're 5 years away from carnivore, my heart breaks for them, because I've done this. I've been there, and this is why I'm saying this, because I'm guilty of this too. It is so easy to look at the failure and think, I'm not worth doing all this other stuff, or I just can't get back on, or whatever, and we focus on how it's wrong and how it's bad and how we failed and all these things. When in reality, what we need to do is realize that was a bad take. Delete it and make the next one better. And that's what we do. And we just don't give in. And people who like to troll online and, give you guys a hard time, give me a hard time for extra weight we have to lose, whatever, they don't see how there's multiple takes. They're like the ignorant person who's sitting there listening to the music, and instead of listening to the final version that's on an album, they're sitting in the studio live watching the guitar player trying to do it and making fun of them for making mistakes when they themselves don't even play guitar. That's what those people are like. That's what that societal voice is. When people are like calling you fat and making fun of you and whatever, it's like a person who doesn't play guitar sitting in the studio watching, making fun of the guitar player for making mistakes as they're recording tracks. Like you're witnessing the journey, the process, and you're just crapping on it instead of appreciating the art form that it takes to create this thing. It's the same thing online with other people's health. You're watching someone go through the process of this journey, this health experience where they are developing progress, developing stability, developing their ability to do this. And instead of encouraging and helping and seeing the value in the learning that they're going through and how they're improving, people like to take a dump on it. So ignore those people and realize that you have a bad take that needs to be deleted, and you go and you do it again. Just change that perspective in your mind. Don't ever think of it in any other way. And it gives you the ability to go, today wasn't great, tomorrow's going to be better. Lunch didn't do a very good job. Dinner I'm going to make sure is perfect. Like, whatever. Last week was horrible. I'm starting today, and this week is going to be so much better. Whatever situation you're in, don't give in to a bad take. Delete it and go back and do it again, just like we do in the studio. That's what we do. We don't throw everything away. We just hit record again, and we redo that take. That's what it's like in the studio, and you do it over and over and over until you get it right, and you don't stop until you nail it. That's what you guys have to do with your health journey. Okay? Don't quit the project because of a bad take. Just do a better take. And here's the thing that I think where this all really ties together in a special way. Small improvements compound because the mix gets better in the studio. You tweak the EQ, okay, which EQ is like your highs, mids, and lows. So like the real high sharp sounds and the mid sounds and then those low bassy sounds. And I'm oversimplifying this massively. I'm not going to get in and try to explain parametric EQ to people who probably don't care. I went to school for this stuff. I nerd out over it. But EQ is like your highs, mids, and lows. It's how you adjust the tone. So you tweak your EQ, right? The beauty of digital music. You can adjust the timing a little bit. Oh, that note came in a little bit early. Let's just let's just bump it a little bit, right? You can do that kind of stuff. You layer the depth of different things. You put pieces together and you start stacking guitar parts on top of each other. All of it comes together in production to create this beautiful piece of music that small adjustments all stacked on top of each other start making it bigger and better, and wow, it grows and turns into something amazing. Your health is the same thing. Little things compound. So you add electrolytes, okay? Well, that helps reduce your cravings, and you feel a little better, and you've got some more energy, and you have less cramps and whatever. And then you start focusing on having your protein from your meal first, and you start finding out you don't really care so much for all of the other stuff. Maybe you don't need any of the veggies, or maybe you like just the super little bits of low carb veggies, or maybe you just get to a point you're like, I'm just eating meat and veggies and I'm trying to give up these carbs. But you're starting the protein first and then the low carb veggies, and you get to a point you realize I don't need those carbs. Whatever situation you're in, you start having a little more water in your day, and you get a little better sleep, and you start making better choices, and your energy starts to stabilize, and piece by piece by piece, you're learning and you're doing new takes and getting better, and the overall compounding interest of that turns into you creating the amazing rock album that is your health. Okay? I get excited about this stuff. You're not trying to be perfect. You're just trying to improve the mix. And when you do that track by track, you get a better and better and better and better end result. It's exactly what we do in the studio every time. So you guys tell me in the comments, what's one tweak that has made a big difference for you this week, your health journey overall, like whatever. Drop it in the chat. What is a single tweak for you that has made a big difference? You might be able to inspire somebody else to try the exact same thing. Aunt Kay is in the house, so I have to say hello to Aunt Kay. It's good to see you, Kay. We're so glad that you're here. Marty says, those who blame your recipes have never made or tasted them. I appreciate that, Marty. Yes, I keep ignoring them as best I can. Karen says, every day is practice to a new life, new growth. If you don't mess up, you can't correct something. So you have to make mistakes to gain from what you're doing. I agree. Let's see. Carrie Ounce is in the house. Says, layers, baby, tweaks. Absolutely. Good to see you, Carrie. I'm really glad you're here. Karen says, I'm new to keto, so my goal this week is to stay away from the thought of breads. If I have the major feeling of bread, making it the keto way from one or Chris Cooking Nashville's recipes. Yes, Karen, that's fantastic. And that is one step. That is a new take that is tweaked and better than the one last week or the week before. Congrats being brand new to keto, by the way. You get a rock on for that. That is fantastic. So glad you're here, Karen, and you let us know how we can support you. Lewis Stone in the house. Howdy, y'all. I made it. Karen says, I'm always afraid to put what I've done wrong for the day down on paper because I'm afraid it will come back and get me. But I think I need to do that with what you were just talking about to shred. Remember, putting it down isn't that you did it wrong. It is data that is feedback so you can tweak it, so you can make it better. But that's the judgment-free approach to that you have to be able to take, Karen. Don't beat yourself up because you are not alone. You are not the only person who struggles with this. I have struggled with this. Ash has struggled with this. Everyone in this community has struggled with this in one way or another. You're not alone. And you don't have to feel bad that you struggle with certain things or go, I did this wrong today. That's okay. Tweak data. Use it to do a better take tomorrow. That's exactly what we're here for. Risa says, I've been thinking of making a keto pumpkin cheesecake this year, doing Thanksgiving prep cooking next week to make the actual day easier. I love it. Let's see. Karen says, I watched your Halloween reset last night, then watched it again this morning and took 3 pages of notes. Loved all the explanations of how our brain works. Thank you. Karen, I'm so glad that's helpful, and thank you so much for watching it. I'm very, very glad. If you guys haven't seen that, go check that one out. That was really good from last Monday. Terry says, the idea of eating when hungry and stopping when satisfied has made a difference for me. I love that. Richard Williams says, I'm studying up on fasting to get through holidays and winter. I love that, Richard. That's fantastic. Okay, so for the rest of you guys, if you haven't done it yet, drop it in the chat for me. What's a tweak that has made a difference for you this week? Inspire somebody. Show somebody else what's working for you. Show us your tweaks so we can learn from you, so we can do tweaks and we can have another take in the studio. Marie says, not beating myself up for having carbs, recently dealing with past trauma and went for the sweets. I watched the scale, but it is just data at this point, focusing on eating the meat first. Good for you, Marie. I love it. That's fantastic. Okay. Here's the thing, guys. You don't compare your rough demo to someone else's finished album. Now, let me explain what I mean. A demo, when you go into a studio, is everyone goes in, you get 1 or 2 takes, you get kind of a rough version of it down. You don't really adjust much. You just kind of, you tweak a couple little things and you just put it out and okay, cool. And that is not something that you would like send to radio or try to put on an album to sell or any of that. That is something you would like send other musicians so they could practice along with it to learn to play live with you for a show, or so they can learn parts and come in the studio like that. That's like this is for the musicians only kind of thing, right? It's just the rough version. It's something along the way. It's not done, not even close to being done. The rough demo is just the starting point. So if you have a rough demo that is your health journey and you compare it to someone else's finished album, you see someone with the 6-pack and the pecs and they're in great shape and they've done this for 20 years and all these kinds of things. If you compare those two things, you are going to psych yourself out because you think you're not good enough. But you are good enough. You're working on the demo. They already released their album. It's 2 completely different products. But you don't get to the album without starting at the demo. And that's every single healthy person out there has started at one place and worked themselves to the point where they are now. Now, you can work backwards and you can make yourself go uglier and worse if you're not careful, right? That's why we work on these things. That's why we don't stop. Start with your demo, but do not compare it to someone else's finished album. Start with your demo and figure out how to tweak. Forget those people. Focus on you. Focus on your tweaks. Focus on what you can do one piece at a time to improve your health journey bit by bit. Make yourself better, make yourself stronger, make yourself more successful. That's your job, not to focus on how your demo is not as good as their album. When people compare their day 3 to somebody else's year 3, or their struggle to someone else's highlight reel on social media, you really throw off your perspective on what you're doing, because that's not where you are. That's not what you should be thinking about. But we live in a society where it's all about, oh, I don't look as good as them. I'm not as good as them. I don't have the money they have. I don't have the health they have. I don't have the car. We compare ourselves to everyone around us. Your health journey cannot handle that. Your mental health for sure, but your physical health. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just focus on your tweaks that help you in the studio. Because here's the deal. You have no idea how many takes they did to get that mix that you're listening to. When I listen to a guitar player like Brent Mason or Johnny Hyland or there's so many amazing guitar players that are like studio cats that are just so incredible. When I listen to them, I go, I don't know how many takes it took them to get that right. When I listen to the finished album, I have no idea how many takes it took a guitar player to nail that. Maybe they did it on the first try. Very unlikely. Maybe it took them 1,000 takes. I don't know. A lot of those guys, though, at the very least, 3, 4, 5 takes, just because they need extra options before you finally get the best one, and that's on a really good day. A lot of times, it's way more than that. And that's the pros. When you listen to country radio and you hear Brent Mason play in all those 90s country things like Alan Jackson and all those those just iconic guitar riffs from 90s country, or any of these rock guys that are out there that are doing these crazy shred licks and all that, it takes so many licks and so many takes to try to get that right. And the thing is, they've practiced for years and years and years and years and years to even be good enough to go in and try. And it still takes multiple takes to get it right. So don't listen to your demo and then compare it to their finished album, because it's two totally different things. Comparison shame. That's the thing we're trying to get rid of. Don't become a victim of that. I'm talking to me as much as I am to you. So in the studio, when the vocals are off, you don't quit, you adjust the key. This is a really cool one. In the studio, if you're trying to play, and normally the singer is going to go in later and do like a final take, but they will do a rough take oftentimes with the whole band when they're recording everything, so that they can make sure everything is flowing and you get this kind of band feel, and you can go back and fix parts and stuff later. And then the vocalist will come in, the singer will do their really final, amazing vocal. They'll work on that after a lot of the other stuff is done, because that way everything is out of the way, and it's really, really cool. And they do, just take after take after take, and word by word to get things perfect. If they're doing that and they can't keep up, it's like it's too high, it's too low, I'm not hitting it right, the whole band on the fly will say, hey, let's change the key. And I'm not going to nerd out on you guys and go into an in-depth explanation of the Nashville number system, but there's a way that you can chart out songs where basically the whole band can go, hey, let's go up a whole step, let's go down a half step, let's whatever, change the key, and they can read the exact same chart, and everything is still there. They you adjust where on the instrument you're playing. Okay? That's a very quick explanation of what you can do there. They adjust the key. You don't keep fighting, you adjust it. If you're struggling with your health journey, change your environment, change your structure, and change the cue. Change the thing that sparks what you're doing, right? Adjust your life as necessary to make this successful for yourself. Don't be stubborn and like, well, I just, this is where I am. No, you're worth more than that. I'm worth more than that. Fight against that. Change your environment, change the structure of what you do, change the cues around you if you can. Don't change your dream of being healthy. Change your approach to getting there. Essentially, you have to stop forcing yourself to perform in a key that doesn't fit your lifestyle. That's what that really means. And if you're not willing to adjust, you're going to continue to struggle. So adjust, forget what people say on the internet, adjust and do the things that make you feel good and give you the health goals you're looking for. And when you mess up, do another take. One more. Every album needs a producer. So what is a producer? A producer is like the person in the studio who has kind of the overarching vision. They sort of captain the ship. They don't necessarily play any of the instruments. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but they have kind of the vision of telling all the different people how to kind of fit into one really unified, cohesive approach. And they bring everyone together to keep everything pointed in the right direction. Every recording needs a producer. Even if there's not a person who is specifically labeled the producer, someone in that room is the producer because they're the one who's pulling everyone together to formulate the vision in a single direction. Nobody makes a masterpiece alone. There are people always working together. You cannot do this alone. This live stream, my channel, my private community, the band, let me pop that back up for you guys. This QR code right here, this is for the private community, the band. Having a community like this, being here in my live streams, being on my channel, watching my videos, doing this kind of stuff, interacting with each other in this community, that is like your producer. That is playing the role of a producer for your health. And I'm not the only place you can do this. Far from it. You can go see all of these people in the keto and carnivore world that can be this for you. Dr. Barry was the main one for me when I was learning all of this. And he still is if I ever feel like I'm losing my way a little bit. But you get from like my live stream and my channel and my private community right here and all these kinds of things, you're getting guidance and clarity and support and accountability with all of these other people around you and the things we're putting out, the resources. This is what this is for. That accountability, that support that you have, that tribe, that is what keeps you going. That is the producer that keeps things headed in the right direction. Doesn't mean your takes are always perfect. They're not. You have to do take after take after take. But having the producer mindset where it all helps funnel it towards a singular vision, that makes you very successful. It's a huge difference. It makes so much difference. So click that URL code, or that QR code rather. Go scan this QR code and that URL will take you to my private community. Would love for you to join and would love to be able to play that role for you guys. Everybody needs the producer role. And if you don't have any place else to find it, we would love to be that for you, so come find us. Here's what this all really means, and this is what I really want you guys to think about and take away from this. You are recording something bigger than just a body transformation. You're creating a soundtrack, as it were, to the life you actually want to live. That's why we do this. Some days it's rough and you're going to have bad takes. Some days you get magic, and that happens in the studio. You walk in and it feels like you can't play anything wrong, and you just nail everything, and amazing things come out and amazing things happen. Regardless, though, you have to keep showing up. No matter what's going on in the studio, you have to keep showing up. You have to keep trying to record. And just because there are bad takes doesn't mean you stop showing up and trying, because that album is not going to happen unless we go in and hit record. And your health is not going to improve unless you show up and you do the things and you hit record. And it's going to be imperfect and it's going to be messy some days, and then some days it's going to be great. But no matter what, you hitting record is what's going to make the difference. And you deserve to do that. You are worth the time, the studio time, to go in there and hit record and have some bad takes and try again. I was really self-conscious when I first started doing studio work because I was afraid I was wasting everyone's time and that I was not hitting things fast enough, and I felt all this pressure. I still feel a lot of pressure. Like, there's a lot of pressure when you go in the studio. You have to hit those parts right. You've got to get these things out. You've got to create things that other people are going to love. Go listen to Ash's music. All those guitar parts on there, that was me under pressure, okay? I do that, though, over and over and over because, one, I love doing it. Two, the thing that I get from it in the end is worth the pressure, especially because it means a lot to Ash when I can do those guitar parts because there's things I can play she can't, just like there's things she can write that I can't. And so we work on that together and we achieve this really cool thing. But over time, I've really learned that I am valuable enough to be worth the time that it takes to go in and record and try multiple takes until I get it right. Because my stuff is good enough to be worth it. And you guys need to remember, you are good enough to be worth going after that take after take after take. You really are. It's worth doing it. So I'm curious, what do you guys think about this? Are you ready to jump in and hit record and do take after take after take, even as messy as they may be? Keep using the data and the feedback so that you can tweak and adjust and get your mix dialed in until everything sounds great. Like, are you guys ready to do this with me? Are we going to do this? I'm doing it. I'm doing my shred protocol. I'm losing my weight. I'm feeling good. I'm doing the things that I do. It's fantastic. And it makes me so happy that I am improving my health and my life and all of these things. And it's little by little. And some days are better than others. Some days are easier than others. Some days I feel like I could fast for a million years and whatever. And then other days I'm like, I just want to eat everything in sight. And I'm tired and I'm, grumpy and whatever. But for the most part, it's all in the upward swing. I'm getting better and better all the time. I'm losing weight. I'm feeling good. Everything is good. I'm killing this stuff, right? In the meantime, I'm also working on the cookbook and taking pictures and whatever. I will probably by the end of this week have all the photos done. I will have cooked and photographed 130 recipes in basically 4 weeks. 3.5 weeks really. And there was a little bit of a gap in between like the first session that I did photos and everything else. So, it's really about 3 weeks of solid work is what it has taken for me to cook 130 recipes and photograph it. Now that's on top of filming videos, editing, doing music, all the things we do. My mind is firing. I am on point. I am working hard because it's working. Doesn't mean it's perfect. There are days that I struggle a bit more, but that's okay. I just do another take. I just keep going. It is fantastic when you get that momentum because remember, those little things compound, they build. That's how our journey is built, and that's how we do this. So tell me, are you guys ready to do this with me? Let's shred. Let's do this. Let's make the album of our health happen. I'm doing it, and I want you guys to jump on with me. If you're interested in it, okay, it's not a requirement. You guys can be here on my channel, be in my live streams, interact in my community. Fantastic. But if you have the extra desire to have a little more, go to the link right here, this QR code, scan this, and go to the band and come join the private community on Mighty Networks. Because we do private live streams, we do extra recipes, there's support, there's all kinds of stuff. And when I get done with this cookbook, with the photos at least, that's the hardest part for me right now. When I get done with the photos of this cookbook, I'm going to be putting more stuff in the band and interacting in there more again and all this kind of stuff. I just got to get the cookbook photos out of the way because it's just a lot of work. I've taken about almost 15,000 photographs at this point. Obviously, I'm not submitting all of those to the publisher. That's just how many photos I've taken to make sure I get really good ones of every recipe. We have about 20 recipes left for me to cook. So that means we've done 110 in the last 3 weeks. Crazy. So I'm just getting that out of the way. And then we're going to be in here in the band working with the community more and more, support and building community and more recipes and live streaming and like all this kind of stuff. My shred protocol. What am I doing to lose all of the weight that I'm doing? Especially after I had stalled out on carnivore and then even gained some because of the dysregulation and the cortisol and the brain issues and the neurodivergence that was undiagnosed, like all of that. What am I now doing that has fixed all of that and has gotten me moving back the other direction? I'm not a doctor and I don't give medical advice, but I'm happy to share anecdotally what it is I'm doing. Maybe it'll help one of you guys out there. I don't know. I'm going to share that with the band first. They'll be the first people to know as I start putting that stuff out. So, and I'll share it on the channel too, but there will be extra stuff that I do in the band. So that link right there, that QR code will take you to the band. And if you're not interested in that one, please, it doesn't cost anything. Please go here and pre-save Ash's single, the extended cut of This Town Built Me. This was her dream of this song when she wrote it. This is how she wanted it to sound. And we released the radio-friendly version because it's part of what you do in the music industry with these things. But this is what she really envisioned. And there's going to be a lot of stuff surrounding this. So please pre-save it and share the pre-save link with all your friends. Tell them to go pre-save it because it will make such a huge difference for her. She's an independent artist. She's doing this all on her own. No label support, no money behind her, nothing. It's all just purely the sweat and the blood and the tears that she puts into it. And I'm so proud of her for all this. Let's see what we got going on in the chat before I let you guys go tonight. Let's see. Okay. Karen says, OMG, I'm listening to Ash's music. I love it. Wow. Well, thank you, Karen. Ash is amazing. She's an incredible writer. She has a beautiful voice, and I think I play guitar on those pretty well. Every now and then I hit the right notes. So thank you, Karen, for listening. I really appreciate that. Risa is talking about making eggs every day. 2 dozen pasture raised today at $4.59 a dozen at Aldi. Cheapest I've seen in months. That's great, Risa. Yeah, I've seen the price of eggs is definitely coming down lately, which is good. Really, really glad. There's There's Rick at Twin Brook Acres. Says, greetings all. Hey, Rick, good to see you, my friend. And there's Brian. Hello, Chris and everyone. Good to see you, Brian. Lisa says, wow, Chris, you just hit me in a mighty way for my mental health I'm dealing with right now. Well, Lisa, I'm glad. Praying for you that all goes well, but you can do this. Lynn, great messaging tonight, Chris. Comparison is the thief of joy. Well, thank you, Lynn. I agree. And there is the beautiful Cindy DeManch. Hi, Cindy. Glad you popped in. It's good to see you. Marty says, great inspiration tonight. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Marty. Lynn says, a project manager is a producer even in the IT tech world I work in. The role is big picture coordinator of the amazing talent. That's it. And that's how it works. And we need that, whether it's a person or a live stream or a community or a private community like the band, like any of that. All of these things, right? All of these things. These are the things that make a difference. Lynn says, I'm doing it. Not perfect, but so very much improved. Good for you, Lynn. Perfection doesn't matter. Tweaking it and making that mix better every day, that matters. Pamela is here. She says, let's do it. You look great. Well, thank you, Pamela. I feel good. That's the thing, right? Sherry says, I totally see your weight loss, Chris. Thank you, Sherry. I do too, especially when I have the camera sitting in front of me like this and I'm looking at myself on my screen in front of me as I'm reading comments and stuff. I can see a huge, huge difference. I'm wondering if I have any pictures. I might... No, I don't see it there. I was thinking, I had some pictures that were from here not too long back, like right around the time that I was getting the diagnosis of my neurodivergence and the things that I was really struggling with at the time. Just some of the kind of things like it just kind of shows that, I've come a long way. Um, well, I don't have the picture that I was looking for, but I can pop this one up for you guys. Let me go find this one. Every time I do this, people are always like, "Oh wow, I had no idea you were ever, that big," or any of these kinds of things. And it's like, folks, I used to be at one point 400 pounds. Okay, like straight up, I was hardcore struggling, like hardcore struggle bussing it. And let's see, I think it's here. Appreciate your patience on this one, guys. I'm just trying to make sure I find. Yeah, here we go. I think that picture just kind of speaks for itself, honestly. And I think my face is actually a little bit thinner now than it was when I was wearing that black t-shirt for the second picture that I took, that I compared to the overweight me. So yeah, that actually right there is this picture of me being super overweight, looking miserable. You can tell how unhappy I was. Right there, I actually had lost weight by this point. I was probably 30 to 40 pounds lighter in this picture than I was at my heaviest. So, I mean, you can just imagine how unhappy and in so much pain and all these kinds of things I was. I mean, so, I have a long way to go still, but man, look where I come from. That's what tweaking things little by little does for you guys. That's what we do. Karen says, awesome, Chris. Loved and learned from what you were saying. Great learning session, you can say, for the week. I need these. Hope you do this often. Yes, Karen, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, I'm doing Monday Motivations. I used to do them in the mornings, but for right now, we're going to do them in the evenings. This time seems to work for a lot of people, so please come hang out with us. 7:30 Mondays, 7:30 p.m. Central. So that's 8:30 Eastern and 5:30 on the West Coast, I believe, if my math is correct. Gabriel is here. You're awesome, Chris. Thank you for the pep talk. Gabby from Missouri. Well, thank you, Gabby. Very, very glad you are here. Lynn says, go, Chris, go. I can hardly wait for the cookbook. Yeah, I'm really excited, Lynn. Risa, Chris, I can see the weight loss in your face. It's working. Yeah, my face is where I really am seeing, like, just in the last few days, I'm even seeing more. So Karen says, yes, I'm ready to join you. Excellent. We're going to do this, guys. We're going to build the album of our perfect health, or as close as we can get to perfect health, right? Marie, I've realized carnivore is the best for me. We'll continue to get back up every time I fall. Good for you, Marie. Don't give in. You can do it. Marty is looking forward to seeing the shred info in the band. Yes, Marty is one of our band members, as is Lewis Stone and Jeff Cox. There's so many people here in the chat that are members of the band. Love you guys. Cannot do this without my band members. Lewis says, especially this time of year, my tweak is eat before you meet people for dinner. That way you can order a small bit of something and still interact, enjoy the company, and not fall off the rails. Lewis, I love it. I call this pre-gaming. I do this a lot. I pre-game where I just eat a whole bunch of stuff before I go, and then it's like I can get something small at a restaurant and kind of be there for the social thing, but I don't feel like I'm hungry, and it makes such a huge difference. Dennis says, I'm hanging in there with you one day at a time. I used your pause 60 seconds from last Monday, and it kept me from going off the rails. Dennis, I am so proud of you, brother. If you guys didn't see, go watch Monday Motivation from last week, where I talked about the sugar reset from Halloween, and we talked about this pause for 60 seconds approach. It's in there. It works, guys, and there it is right there. Dennis talking about how it helps. That's awesome. Cindy says, thank you, Chris. We're in Georgia. Stopped for the night on the way home from Florida. Went to the Central Florida Ketos meetup. That's awesome, Cindy. Will you guys please be safe? We love you guys. Karen says, wow, major difference. You've done great. Yes, it's a big difference for sure. Terry says you look younger. Man, Terry, I feel younger. You have no idea. Well, you may have an idea. I don't know. I've never seen your journey, but it's pretty wild when you put a picture up like that and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better than I used to. Lisa says, wow, what a transformation, Chris. I'd lost over 100 pounds since doing keto. Good for you, Lisa. Keep at it. Sherry says there's even a big difference with the pic on the right. Yes, you can see a difference in the face, especially of me there in that black t-shirt, that black Fender t-shirt, and the way my face is now. And I think it's interesting, actually, my nose and my cheeks next to my nose is the area where I really see this flattening back out and everything. This is the more of the facial shape that I had. Not quite. I'm still a little puffier here, but this is a lot closer to the facial shape I had when I was a teenager, when I was about 17, and I was in great shape. And I did Taekwondo. I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo, and I used to train every week and everything. I was in good shape. I basically had a six-pack. I was in good shape. Let's see. Karen says, I'll be there. Good. And Lisa says, I love it, Chris. Now I can be a part of the evening lives since I work all day. Right there with you. Love it, Lisa. Emily says, can't stay. It was good, but popping into the chat, my beautiful friend. Says, can't stay, just popping in to say hey to all my friends. Make sure you know how good the food is. I've been spoiled this week. Emily, you're very sweet. Well, I hope you're having a great day. All right, guys. Well, I think we're all caught up on comments. I appreciate all of you guys. Listen, one more time. This QR code right here, okay? Scan this with your phone or whatever device you have with the camera, and it's going to take you to get Ash's extended release of This Town Built Me. You're going to pre-save that. That's a huge favor to her. It does so much to help her out, and it's free. If you have Spotify or whatever, you just go pre-save it. It's not going to do anything weird or send you anything or charge you anything. But go pre-save that, because it's a huge deal for artists like Ash to have people pre-save that. So please go do that and just help make all of her dreams come true. And if you're looking for some extra support, you can go to this QR code right here. This will take you to the band, our private community, and you can come join. So the link for this is the This Town Built Me. This link is also in the description box. You can go down there and click it. So you can go do that. My band link is also in the description box if you want to join the private community. Those are both down there. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope this has gotten you off to a positive and optimistic start for your week, and that you can remember that you are building the album that will be your best health. And you got to do it one track at a time, and there's going to be bad takes. So delete the track, start it again, and keep going, and don't quit. Don't throw the album out because of a bad take. Just keep going after it. Like, subscribe, and share while you guys are here. I was working on some recipe stuff today. It's going to be coming out. It's coming Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we've got a cookbook and all kinds of things coming. So appreciate you guys. I love all of you. This is Chris Cook in Nashville. You beautiful people. Remember to eat your meat, love your life. I'll see you here in the studio for more Monday motivations, and in the kitchen for recipes, and on store shelves with a cookbook sometime here in the future. I love all of you guys. Have a great night and rest of your week. Bye, y'all.